Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalam ala Rasulullah. Assalamu alaikum everyone. Welcome to our next lecture. Today we're talking about status, the status of the ism. This is a very important concept. Inshallah, we've already introduced it. We're going to talk about it a little bit more in this lecture. And then in the upcoming lectures, as we do more examples and we start reading together, everything will become super clear. But inshallah, we're going to go more into the concept of status, understanding rafa, nasab, and jar, and how the ism plays a role in the sentence. Status tells us the role that the ism is playing in the sentence. So let's look at an example in English. So we have the example that we've already talked about. The Prophet of Allah advised the people. Okay, in this sentence we have three isms. We have Prophet, the word Allah, and the word people. So these are three isms, and they're all playing a different role, a different function in the sentence. The Prophet is the doer of the word advising, of the action advising. The people are receiving the action, so they are the object. They are a detail of the sentence. And the word Allah, it is playing a possessive role of the word prophet, and it's coming after the preposition of. So given this, we can determine that each ism is playing a unique role. And what is that role? So the prophet is, because it is the doer, it is in the rafa status. The people, it is the detail of the sentence, so it is in the nasab status. And the word Allah is after the word of, it is in a possessive, it's playing a possessive role, so it is in the jar status. Okay, let's briefly look at the definition of rafa, nasab, jar a bit more. So rafa, it is the actual term is nominative, but an easier way to think about it is just think about it as the subject or the doer of the sentence. That is the rafa. Nasab is called accusative, but simply just think about it as the object, the detail of the sentence. And finally, jar. Jar is the genitive, or simply after the prepositions, and it denotes possession. So think of the after of. So here the word Allah is coming after of, so it is in jar status. Now we've talked about this a lot, the concept of patterns. So the ism shows status, gender, and number through their ending patterns. The ism will tell you what status it is in by looking at the ending pattern of the ism. It will also tell you the gender and the number. Oftentimes the gender, such as we learned about the ta marbuta, usually signifies feminine. And we even talked about number, we talked about singular and plural. Today we're going to talk about dual as well, what that looks like. And status, the ending can show rafa, nasab, and jar all through the ending pattern. So again, patterns are super important in Arabic. Okay, now we're going to talk about what these patterns actually are, and we're going to go through this chart, and inshallah I really want you guys to memorize this chart. So let's look at it. Okay. This is the ism chart. This is a very important chart. We're going to go through it together, and I want you guys to have this chart memorized by the time before we move on to the next lecture, inshallah. So after this video, take a break and memorize this chart in the way that I will teach you. So let's look. This is the masculine ism chart. Just ignore the word heavy for right now. And down here is the feminine ism chart. Okay, we have in our columns, we've got singular, dual, and plural. So in these columns, this is what the singular ism looks like. This is how we show dual, and this is how we show plural. We're going to look at the patterns of those. And also, in our rows, we've got rafa, nasab, and jar. So we're going to learn how these isms show the status. So we know that rafa is the doer, nasab is the detail, and jar is after prepositions like of. Okay, let's start with our first column, the singular column. So we have the word muslimun. Muslimun, it's a masculine word. It is singular and it is in the rafa status. So what is the pattern for rafa here? It is the dhamma. Muslimun. Okay, let's go next. Musliman. Musliman is showing nasab status. What exactly is showing the nasab status? It is the fatha. And it just by convention that when you have tanween fatha, there's usually a alif to kind of hold that tanween. So oftentimes you will see alif just holding that tanween, and that's just by convention. Next we have muslimin. Muslimin is in jar status, and what is the pattern showing the jar status? It is kasra. Okay, and just remember that if we were to make it definite, we would say al muslimu. So it's not the tanween that is showing the status. It's just the dhamma, the fatha, and the kasra for singular. So al muslimu, which translates as the Muslim, it is definite because we have al and no tanween, and we know it's rafa because of this dhamma. Okay, so if we were looking at definite words, it would just be the single vowel. Okay, now let's go to dual. Here we have muslimani, muslimaini, muslimaini. Okay, this is a bit unique. So for dual, we have muslimani showing the rafa status. So the ending pattern is this ani sound. This ani pattern is telling us that it is dual and that the ism is in rafa status. Okay, so I want you to memorize it like muslimun, musliman, muslimin, muslimani, muslimaini, muslimaini. Okay, here is something unique. Nasab and jar for dual look the exact same. So the pattern is aini. Okay, the pattern is aini for both nasab and jar. Now, if they're the same, how do we know if it's nasab or jar? We will know if it's nasab or jar based on the context of the sentence. So when we are reading the sentence, we will know based on the context if it is nasab or jar. If we see that there's a preposition, then we will know, and the ism is coming after the preposition, we will know it is in jar. If it is a detail of the sentence, we will know it is nasab. So this we will know by context. Okay, I know it's confusing right now, but inshallah it will be very clear when we do our examples. So right now I want you guys to focus on memorization. Memorize this chart: muslimun, musliman, muslimin, muslimani, muslimaini, muslimaini. Okay, lastly we have the plural column. And we talked about plural already. We already knew that to make an ism plural, we add this una sound. Okay, this una sound tells us that it is plural, but also that the ism is in rafa status. So muslimuna is plural rafa. How do we say plural in nasab and jar? We will say muslimina. Now, again, the nasab and jar for plural look the exact same. So again, we're going to differentiate based on context. And inshallah, it will not be confusing when we do examples. So let's do this chart together, and inshallah, let's have this memorized by the next video. Muslimun, musliman, muslimin, muslimani, muslimaini, muslimaini, muslimuna, muslimina, muslimina. Again, muslimun, musliman, muslimin, muslimani, muslimaini, muslimaini, muslimuna, muslimina, muslimina. Okay, very good. Let's move on to the feminine chart. The feminine chart is very, very similar to the masculine chart. It just has the added a few added letters, and the plural is a bit different. Okay, let's look at singular. Muslimatun. Again, the same. The dhamma is what's telling us it's in rafa. We just have the added ta marbuta here telling us that this is now feminine. So this is what is differentiating the feminine and the masculine. But the rafa, the thing that's giving it away is rafa, is the dhamma. Feminine, nasab, muslimatan. Okay? Here, it's once again the fatha. Jar, muslimatin. The kasra. So muslimatun, muslimatan, muslimatin. Okay, easy inshallah. Dual, muslimatani, muslimataini, muslimataini. Okay, again, very similar to the masculine chart. We're just adding the ta. So if you see this, if you see these endings at the end of an ism, we know we're talking about feminine, we're talking about dual, and we're talking about rafa nasab jar. So from these ending patterns of an ism, we can understand the status, the number, and the gender. All of this information is wrapped up in these patterns, so it's a very efficient, very effective method of conveying information, these patterns. Okay, so let's recap. Muslimatun, muslimatan, muslimatin. Muslimatani, muslimataini, muslimataini. Again, nasab and jar is differentiated by context. Alright, and finally the plural. The plural is muslimatun, muslimatin, muslimatin. So the pattern is for rafa, it's the atun ending. For nasab and jar, the atin, atin. And again, differentiated by context. Let's recap the whole thing. Muslimatun, muslimatan, muslimatin. Muslimatani, muslimataini, muslimataini. Muslimatun, muslimatin, muslimatin. Again, muslimatun, muslimatan, muslimatin. Muslimatani, muslimataini, muslimataini. Muslimatun, muslimatin, muslimatin. Okay, let's do both charts together. Muslimun, musliman, muslimin. Muslimani, muslimaini, muslimaini. Muslimuna, muslimina, muslimina. Muslimatun, muslimatan, muslimatin. Muslimatani, muslimataini, muslimataini. Muslimatun, muslimatin, muslimatin. Okay, mashallah. That was our ism chart for masculine and feminine. And inshallah, get this very memorized and solid in your heart, and the rest of the practice will be very easy, inshallah. There's one more concept I want to briefly touch about in this video before wrapping up, and that is the concept of flexibility. Okay, So the chart that we just did, that the ism muslimun, it's fully flexible, meaning that in the singular, the rafa, nasab, and jar, they all look different. So that means they can all show uniquely their status in rafa, nasab, or jar. It can take all of the ending patterns. So the word muslimun is fully flexible, meaning that it is fully reflective of its status. It can show its status. So if we want to say Muslim in Rafa status, we will say Muslimun. If we want to say Nasab, we will say Musliman. If we want it to be in Jar, we will say Muslimin. It can take all of the different endings. So it is fully flexible. Some isms are partly flexible, meaning that the ism can still be rafa, nasab, or jar. It's just that it won't show it outwardly because it is partly flexible. So for example, the ism Makkah, Makkatu, in rafa it will be Makkatu. So it is showing it is taking the dhamma. So in rafa it is Makkatu. And in nasab, it is makkata, so it's looking normal so far. Makkatu, makkata. But in jar, it is also makkata. There's no makkati. This ism is partly flexible. It cannot show jar by taking the kasra. So the way you will know if the ism Makkah is nasab or jar, so when you see makkata, it can be either nasab or jar, and so we will differentiate by context. So partly flexible words, we differentiate nasab and jar by context. And inshallah, as we do examples and we start reading together, I will highlight these words and we will start to understand this a bit more. I just want to introduce the concept of flexibility here. And finally, there are some isms that are completely inflexible, meaning that regardless of whether the ism is rafa, nasab, or jar, it will look the exact same. So when the ism dunya is rafa, it will look like dunya. When it is in nasab, it will still look like dunya. And when it is in jar, it will also be dunya. So there is no change at all due to status. And here, context will tell us once again what the status is. So flexibility still means whether the ism is fully, partly, or completely inflexible, the ism can still be rafa, nasab, or jar. Flexibility is just telling us, will that ism show that flexibility through a change in the ending pattern? I hope that makes sense. And inshallah, if it doesn't, if it's still a bit confusing, don't worry. We're going to do examples. Just keep moving through the series and make a lot of dua that Allah makes this easy for you. And inshallah, we're doing this with the intention to become closer to the Quran. So inshallah, Allah is with you. Don't worry. I just want to recap this chart one more time. And inshallah, please have this memorized by the time we start the next video. Let's go through it one more time and then we will end the video here. So we'll start with the masculine chart. Muslimun, Musliman, Muslimin. Muslimani, Muslimaini, Muslimaini. Muslimuna, Muslimina, Muslimina. Feminine chart. Muslimatun, Muslimatan, Muslimatin. Muslimatani, Muslimataini, Muslimataini. Muslimatun, Muslimatin, Muslimatin. Okay, very good job, guys. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for your attention. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. Assalamu alaikum everyone. See you in the next video.